Our next presenter, Chad Rubin, he builds e-commerce businesses. Fresh out of college on Wall Street, Chad took his family vacuum business online, built his own direct consumer e-commerce business called Crucial Vacuum. He grew from a $0 to $20 million valuation in just 7 years. He happens to be a top 500 Amazon seller as well. He co-founded Skubana, and as I will quote from Chad, one of e-commerce hottest operational softwares. As Chad will also say, Skubana is the only software that you'll ever need to manage, accelerate the growth of your e-commerce business, and it's a beautiful, intelligent, and highly intuitive software which incorporates every feature imaginable to drive your future of your business. I'll end quotes for Chad. Chad shares his blueprint on how he builds the road on and off of Amazon. He also authored a book called Cheaper, Easier, Direct, which can be purchased on Amazon. Please welcome Chad Rubin.
For me, I'm all about wanting to share. I think sharing is caring. And so hopefully made a nice contact out of that brief introduction. The number one thing here that brings everybody together, outside of the fact that some of the people in the audience are members of the tribe, is that we are all trying to make more money. We're all trying to sell a product, whether it's on Amazon or off Amazon. We're all trying to get ahead and figure out what's the next thing that's going to benefit our business. So this is a different kind of presentation. This is how I've been able to systemize my business. So the title, How to Replace Yourself and 4X Your Revenue, I thought it was appropriate. So when I first started selling on Amazon, it was 2009. And you can see in the backdrop, that's what my warehouse looked like. It was a jungle. It was really disorganized. And now, in 2017, it's a different story. So my e-commerce business, roughly revenues of about $7 million, only with 2 employees. I'm a top 500 Amazon seller. Those that want to look up your status on Amazon, to figure out where you rank and where you index against your competitors, you can go to Marketplace Pulse and look up where you rank. MarketplacePulse.com. So what I want to share with everybody today is the system that I've used to scale my business. So since 2009, I've managed to increase my SKU count 87% year over year. Every year, consistently increasing our SKU count 87%. In 2016, we increased our SKU count by 200 SKUs. Let's frame this for a second. Amazon Basics, Amazon's private labeling initiative, increased their SKU count by 283 SKUs. I only have 2 employees. How do you do that using only 2 employees? It's a really important question. So this is what the graph looks like of how I've been able to scale my business since 2009. We actually ended quarter end March. We ended March with, let me get this right, 763 SKUs. With over 3,600 listings across 20 different channels. The reason why there's a discrepancy between SKUs and listings is because I'm doing a lot of kitting and bundling. You can't hear me? You still can't hear me? Should I repeat everything I just said? Okay. So how do you win in e-commerce? It's not going to be by coming out with another garlic press or another silicone baking mat or another item that can be ripped off quickly. In my opinion, I believe the way to win and scale on Amazon is you need to be a systems thinker. The biggest mistake you can make is to just work harder or hire more employees. So today we're going to talk about the system. Systems are harder to replicate than a private label product. How many people here are doing private label? Raise your hand. Awesome. How many people here sell a garlic press? All right, don't be bad, don't be shy. So how do you win? How do you actually scale a business? You need to work smarter than the competition. You need to build a system. You need to be a systems thinker. It's harder to rip off a system than it is a private label product. You cannot replicate a system. It becomes a competitive advantage. It's hard to see the, oh yeah, you're right. Okay. We can dim the lights if possible. Set the mood. or not. Okay. Do it with the lights on. Okay, so we have 3 different things we're going to work on today. We're going to optimize, we're going to automate, and then we're going to outsource. The reason why we start with optimization is because you cannot outsource an inefficient task. So we start with ourselves, actually. I always start with myself. Now, these are the 3 levers you can pull to win and systemize your business. The output is going to be time. There we go, there we go. The output is going to be time, or the output is going to be more dollars in your pocket. You choose what you'd like to do. So first, we're going to focus on optimization. This is the hors d'oeuvres. So what you want to start doing is take a look at your life. Where are you spending your time today? And when I first started outsourcing, this is exactly what I did. I had a to-do list, but I never had a don't-do list. We all have to-do lists as entrepreneurs, and it's never ending. But what are things that maybe you shouldn't be doing? And where are you spending your time today? So initially, there was some, this looked a lot different. I professionalized this slide for the audience today. So first, you have to figure out, what do you have no desire to do? What are things that you have no expertise doing? For example, I have no expertise doing sponsored ads. Okay, I'm going to be honest with myself. And I think it's important everybody here be honest with themselves in what's their core competency. So things I have no expertise doing, no knowledge of doing. Again, PPC, maybe it's Google AdWords, maybe it's advertising on Bing. It could be actually creating really, really solid converting Facebook ads. And just having a do not do list. A bucket list, and whatever rhymes with the bucket, right, a do not do list. So take an inventory of your daily grind. Now, how do we do this? Number 1, for everybody in the audience today, this is your homework assignment. You need to actually look at where you're spending the most of your time. So for me, what I did was I had a Google Calendar up for 2 whole weeks, just documenting where do I spend my time. Really, really, really important. 2 weeks, where are you spending all your time? Whoa, that's bright. And you'll find that there's a lot of inefficiencies. You start rating where you're putting your time. I like doing this. Wow, someone could have done this a lot quicker than me. Or I'd rather hire an agency that can make me like double the revenue and I'll spend less money, because we need to actually start allocating what is your time worth in the audience. What is the value of your time? So if the value of your time is $50 an hour, you should not be doing a task that's below $50 an hour. It's a completely different mindset. After I focused on my own calendar, I actually started focusing on my employees' time. I started meeting with employees in one-on-one meetings. I have these monthly listening tours that I do across my company. And I want to understand, because I don't sit with my employees all day. I want to understand everywhere they're putting their time. They had no idea that I was really going to tear their calendars apart. And I started seeing, wait, why are you blogging for 4 hours of the day? Is that the best use of your time? Are you hitting a wall? What's happening? So when we now get into these meetings together, these weekly planning meetings that I have with my team, the bottleneck could never be time and capacity, because we either automate it with technology or we outsource it. So time and capacity is never an impediment to our success. Cool? Okay. So what I started doing, and we'll find out later in this presentation, is what I like to do is that a lot of companies today give out holistic water and free lunches. What I do is I give my employees, 2 of them, I give them as many virtual assistants and technology to help them focus only on higher value activities. I give every employee a VA. Because if I give them a VA, they can actually accomplish their tasks and focus on the things that are actually going to make me the most money. So what are you doing that you shouldn't be doing? Case in point, my wife, she went to IKEA. and she brought home IKEA furniture, and she said, Chad, you're going to put this together. And I am really bad at putting things together. I am the least handy person you'll ever meet. I said, Shira, do you really think that's a good use of my time? 4 or 5 hours putting together this thing that was very complex. It looked like Chinese to me. And so what I did was I hired somebody from our next door neighbor. He's in high school. He wanted extra cash, $30. Right? So I repurposed my time in a different way. One of the things not only do I do this for myself, this is actually an interview question I use in every interview when I'm actually interviewing employees that are coming into my company. Because remember, I actually, not only am I an Amazon seller, I'm on 20 different channels, and I have a software business. Big key question I ask is, okay, tomorrow you go to IKEA, you buy something, what do you do next? You bring it home, what do you do? Do you put it together? Do you read the instruction manual? Do you delegate it? It really gives me an idea of where people are spending their time and how do they want to spend their time. Really good trigger question. So we want today, at least for this presentation, we want to focus on things that are helping you increase your bottom line, things that are going to make you more money. And not all work is created equally. So just because you're running hard doesn't mean you're running in the right direction. So let's look at that. We have 4 quadrants. We have high effort, high impact, low effort, low impact. This is the biggest waste of your time, a high effort activity that is minimal impact for your business. Get rid of it. It should not be anywhere in your to-do list. Low effort, low impact. Housekeeping. Buying cold brew coffees for your refrigerator, for your employees. Like going on it and doing that errand yourself. Get it off your plate. Just using an example. There's a lot of other examples we can do. High impact, low effort is snacking. So for me, I have so many emails coming into my box. And so what I do with those, I used to think that doing emails was an accomplishment. I confused activity with accomplishment. And so I would go on Gmail, do my emails, 40 minutes. Yes, I knocked out 60 emails, 40 minutes. Amazing. Waste of my time. It's snacking. It makes you feel good in the short term, but in the long term, it actually produces 0 results for your business. This is something that you can easily outsource to an outsourced VA, virtual assistant, which we'll get into in a second. This is where you want to spend 100% of your time, not 80%. 100% of your time should be focused on something that's high impact and high effort. This is a high value activity. All right, we got through optimization. Again, that was just the appetizer. Automation. Before even thinking about outsourcing, and after we identify all the tasks that we hate doing, and all the tasks we shouldn't be doing, how can we use and leverage technology to automate our business? So back in 2009, when I first started selling on Amazon, and of course, the Amazon game was really, really different back then. In 2009, suddenly before I even started private labeling, I was reselling, and I started finding that price changes would happen and fluctuate. And I would go to my computer every hour on the hour to update price across all my SKUs. It was insane. Later I realized, right, there's robots that do it. Repricers. So, using technology to automate repetitive tasks, the low-value, mundane activities, trying to find technology to actually automate the process for you. So here is every single tool. Every tool, nothing held back. Every tool that I use to run my entire e-commerce business. And you can see I split it up into sections. And when I was starting to compile this slide, I started thinking there is a big difference using technology to automate your business and using technology to actually delegate things in your business. Big, big difference. So let's first focus on the automation piece. One of the tools, internal communication, it should be there, is called Boomerang. Where is it? Is Boomerang there? Yeah, there it is, right under Skype. So Boomerang was a game-changing technology for me. It's a service that it's free. You can pay for it. I pay for it actually right now. and I can send an email in the future, but also if somebody doesn't respond to my email, it actually boomerangs and returns back into my inbox. There's a lot of cognitive processing power that I used to spend saying, oh wait, John didn't get back to me. Why didn't John get back to me? I need to follow up with him. And so Boomerang is one of those automation tools. You can see that there's some repricers on there. The company that I started, Skubana, it's an operational system, and I'm not here to talk to you about it. I'm trying to think about what are the tools in my life that automate things. So for me, for Skubana, we actually created algorithmic purchase orders. Instead of having somebody go through 3,000 listings and 760 SKUs to figure out when to order, how many to buy, with what vendor, why not have your system create a purchase order awaiting approval? It made sense. Leveraging technology to win. So Skubana is this 24/7, 365 employee. It even works on Shabbos. Okay? Another tool that you'll see on here is Slack. So Slack is a communication tool, and I actually use it more for delegation now. So Slack and Trello we're going to talk about. The last thing for actually automation, before we go to delegation, is LastPass. So LastPass is a tool, if I want to give out my password to an employee, it's a system that actually can delegate it, but hide the credentials. So they click in the Chrome browser, you click, you enable them access to Seller Central, but if you want to revoke access, you click a button to every single password that they have. It's an amazing tool because in business, things happen, challenges are in front of you, and sometimes you need to do something that nobody likes to do here, is lay off an employee, and it hurts. But this makes it a painless process to take back those passwords. Returnly is another one that I think is really important, automating the return process. So if you go to thinkcrucial.com and go to the bottom to shipping return policies, people can actually return their own stuff back to our company automatically. So Trello and Slack I use for delegation. We'll get into those as we progress through the presentation. Okay, outsourcing. Who here, show of hands, who here actually is outsourcing right now? Show of hands? Okay. And how many people here are outsourcing in the United States? Raise your hands. Okay, to maybe a consulting company, perhaps? And how many people here are finding people overseas to outsource to? Okay, it's actually a pretty interesting mix, even. So when entrepreneurs or sellers or merchants first begin to outsource, they actually make a huge mistake. They want to get more stuff done. But instead, going back to what my initial comment was, you want to focus on getting your own stuff done. So getting your own stuff done is very, very important because sometimes subtraction is just as important as addition. My mathematics skills are not as good as the previous two speakers, Tim and Brett. So where do you find VAs? How do we go about finding them? I use Upwork often, all the time. I only use Upwork. Upwork ended up buying Guru.com, I believe, and I think Elance as well. So I use Upwork for a few different reasons. One of the two top reasons I like Upwork. Number one is they have a review system. I can see the reviews for every single freelancer that I hire. And two, I can take a screenshot every 15 minutes of the person that I've hired to make sure they're actually doing their job and working on my stuff. So geographically, I focus my talent search in the Philippines. I don't do it because I'm cheap. I do it because it's cost effective and I find the talent there is amazing. I think Philippines is the first biggest place for business process outsourcing. So they actually have trained people and their English is incredible. Their literacy rate is 97% in English. I don't find that in other countries. It's just something that it's just the geographic location I'm pulling from. So first thing I look for is, how's your English? I have them do a video. I have them do a video reading something. It could be reading Amazon's terms of service. It doesn't really matter. Just reading something. And I have them send me the recording. I want to make sure they're organized and that they actually can use technology, like delegation tools like Trello and Slack. We use those tools heavily. How's their communication? What are the reviews like? And to send me some samples. One of the big questions I put when I'm hiring people, because you'll notice that when you start posting a job on Upwork, you have thousands of people applying for the job, and it's hard to weed through all the garbage that comes your way. People are just blindly applying to your job post. So I ask a question. One of them could be include Rockstar Assistant in your job brief or your brief for the application. Include Rockstar Assistant. It could be include your favorite ice cream. It doesn't matter. Some sort of secret clue, make it fun. I like to make it fun typically. That made sure that they actually read your entire proposal end to end, from beginning to end. Here is my VA. She's changed my life. And actually, even in my book, Cheaper, Easier, Direct, I give her a shout out in the back. Why? Because she is the other half of my brain. I actually have two VAs running everything for me. This is one of them. And the important thing to differentiate here when you're hiring tasks or roles, a task is somebody like a bookkeeper. A bookkeeper role is a very specialized task, and they're very good at doing that one thing and doing it really well. Sponsored ads. Whether you pick an agency in the United States or overseas, sponsored ads. Very specialized, very specific. Designing a new website, A/B testing, customer support. These are things that I hire for the task, not for the role. But for my own, what I call my GVA, my general virtual assistant, it's a role. For example, she helped me with this PowerPoint, right? It's just it's something that I can just give her on a daily basis. She does my entire calendar. She does all my emails. Now, she used to do my text messages. My wife was pissed because I don't write XO moi. Like, that just is not in my. So I highly suggest you don't let your assistant do your text messages. Managing your schedule, performing keyword search. All these things my general VA does. Now, my employees get task VAs and they get GVAs. They get both. I let them choose who they get, how many they get, because when we have that weekly meeting, I'm going back to the same question. What have you accomplished, and what haven't you accomplished that you're supposed to accomplish for your quarter-end goals? If they say it's time, time is never an impediment to our success, period. It's not. So here's some examples of job posts on Upwork. It's a screenshot of how I'm using Upwork. A YouTube channel manager. I'm not an expert on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, Skubana e-commerce TV. You should check it out because there's some really good nuggets on it. And I have somebody actually uploading our videos, doing all the keywords. AdWords, AdWords master, building our FAQ page. Part-time bookkeeper. I used to have a bookkeeper in the United States, and now the reconciliation is done overseas. I saved thousands of dollars, but it's also being done better. It's being done. She found mistakes with my bookkeeper in the United States that I would have never found. This is everybody I'm using. And you can see there's some that are in the US, some that are more high value. Like, I've just found that I like finding developers here in the United States for doing my brochure site, doing my website, Shopify. The other thing I want to point out is a lot of times when I'm searching, first of all, there's a search function on Upwork. It's actually quite great. In the top right-hand corner, there's a magnifying glass. The magnifying glass allows you to put in either search by freelancer or search by job post. So when you're searching by freelancer, I may want to type in sponsored ads, see what comes up. But a lot of times, I want to see what other sellers are actually putting on Upwork. There's a lot of Amazon sellers. There's 2 million of us. I want to see what are the other things that these Amazon sellers are posting. So one of the latest concepts for me that I've been searching and thinking about is Amazon wishlist. I'm not going to get into the specifics around Amazon wishlist, but I wanted to see what other sellers were posting on Amazon wishlist. So it's a great way to get competitive intelligence about things that are happening in the world of Amazon selling. It also allows me, once I click on that post, I can see every other post that seller or merchant posted on Upwork. It's fascinating. So now I start digging through all the posts that they post and finding things out or finding things to outsource I would have never thought of before. It's quite genius. So one of the things that who here puts a lot of time into emails? Can you raise your hand if you're doing a lot of emails? There's a lot of people doing emails here. So I outsource my inbox to the point where if you email me today, likely my VA will be answering the email, unless it's very important I can't actually figure out the answer. So we have a system that we've created, and I'll talk about the system. It's called Flag and Tag. So here's a few things. First things first, Gmail Meter. It's an app. It's a free app. You plug in your Gmail credentials, and you can actually see, for those that didn't raise their hand with emails, use Gmail app and see all the people that are, you can see all the emails that you got into your inbox. Like, not all the emails, the number of emails you get into your inbox. You can also see the top 10 people that you're corresponding with. So here's a screenshot that I designed. And so you can see here, in the month of February, I had 4,400 emails come into my inbox. That's a lot of emails. That's like 100 and something. Guys, what is it? What's the number? 150 emails a day. It's insane. And you can see which were directly to me, which were CC'd. Why am I being CC'd on all these emails? I don't know. But I stopped those bad habits immediately because my time is spent better in a different place. The other thing you can do, like I said, is see the top 10 people that are actually emailing you. What I noticed is that my employees are emailing me. So what did we do? I moved the communication off of email. I moved it to Slack. No longer am I allowing my employees to email me and clutter my inbox. It was unnecessary. We've also developed this flag and tag system. How many people here use Gmail? Show of hands. Okay. How many people here use AOL? Show of hands. Okay. That was a trick question. Come on. My wife's mother still uses AOL. She pays $20 a month. It's unbelievable. She's like, but Chad, I'm going to lose all my contacts. I'm like, no, you won't. It's okay. So we developed this flag and tag system. The flag and tag system, you go to the settings, general, on your email, and there's different stars. So what I use, I have green, red, an arrow pointing to the email, purple, and blue. You may not remember this, but this is what I'm doing. Green is for my other half of my brain, for Anne. It means it's ready, the email's ready for her. Purple is for my other VA. Arrows pointing to me are actually for me. They're waiting for me to draft something or put in some notes, very light notes I put in, and then I change the star back to green. And I don't know what blue is. It's actually not something that I'm using. I think that's for the VAs to talk to each other. And red stars means urgent. So this flag and tag system, you can see that we're flagging and tagging, and it allows me to efficiently spend my time in other places. Majority of the people here said they spend a lot of time in email. Filters are not just for vacuums. That's an inside joke because I started selling vacuum filters on Amazon with my own brand back in 2009. So using filters is great. I can filter out emails that are not important. Just came back from a conference in Vegas, and we were in a convertible, back seat of the convertible, and this other seller was on his phone in the back seat with me, looking at every single FBA order that was shipped in his business for the day. It maybe made him feel really good inside. I don't know. But that's a task you should not be doing. Like, you can be doing a lot of other things with your time. So these are some filters I've set up, right? Like, I don't need to get certain emails, and we filter them out. Sold and shipped new is one of them on Amazon. Canned responses. So in Gmail, in the bottom right-hand corner, there's an area for you to do canned responses. So there's a lot of different responses you can do. A canned response is just a template response that you can set up that just allows you to kind of fill in the blanks. If you know that you're getting the same question asked by employees all the time, you can set up a canned response. Or if you know that a customer, for example, when you're doing customer support, we've outsourced our entire Amazon customer support. Everything is in the Philippines. We have one person on the phone and one person doing email, all through Upwork. So we give them canned responses because we always, 80% of our time is spent answering 100% of the same emails constantly in customer support. So not only do we have an internal FAQ and an operational document, we also have canned responses to respond back to those emails that constantly come in. So I briefly mentioned the use of another tool. It's a delegation tool. It's called Trello. So I use it to delegate, and I sort my entire business up into teams. How many people here use Trello? So not many. Sorry, put those hands up. Like, okay. Trello. How many people here use Trello? Trello. The word actually comes from a trellis. I'm a big fan of gardening. I have a nice garden in Nyack, New York. And so they actually got the word from a trellis. It's a thing that actually supports the plant as it grows. So this is a support technology that I'm using. And how we actually structure it, I'm just going to fast forward. We have a backlog, a to-do, and doing and done. I used to be, and I've been working really hard at this, I used to be a very big micromanager, like constantly asking the same question all the time, saying, is this done? Is this done? Did you do it yet? Is it done? Super annoying. It annoyed me, but it also, I think more importantly, annoyed my staff. So we set up this backlog. A backlog is all the things that you want to do. Every single thing that you want this employee to do, it could be for the lifetime of their employment. And you can actually take these cards and you can actually prioritize it. So you can rigorously prioritize the most important things, even in the backlog list. Once the employee starts doing the work, like we'll have these weekly meetings and they get pushed to the next piece, which is to do. This is what they need to be doing, but they haven't done it yet. And then doing and then done. So you can delegate to the card and you can actually put in comments into the card. Now, the other thing that I started doing is I connected Trello to Slack. How many people here use Slack? Not a lot of people. Okay, so Slack is an internal communication tool. It's like AOL from the 90s for entrepreneurs. So it's like chat rooms, private chat rooms for people across your entire business. So you have 5 marketing people, you can have a channel just for marketing. For me, I have a VA board. And so what I did was I connected Trello to my VA board, and now I can put a command, which is /Trello /add, and I can add them to-do lists immediately. So while I was walking here, I was walking with another seller, and he was talking to me about Amazon merch. I said, that's a really good idea. Boom, Trello, add, merch, done. And I can track it through the entire progress, but I don't have to micromanage them. So when I first started outsourcing, I did it the wrong way. I tried like 8 years ago, and I failed. And you're not going to get it on the first time. It takes a long time to find the right people to outsource. The game plan that I used was Virtual Freedom, this book. Buy the book, no surprise, it's available on Amazon, right? And Virtual Freedom essentially like reignited me and like gave me the tools and the operational plan to figure out how to nail outsourcing. So my wife took a trip to India. I was like, I'm going to take this entire weekend, 48 hours, nothing but training my VA. So going back to the tools that I use, let's go all the way back. Training your VA. One of my pet peeves is actually repeating myself. And so we use Zoom. You can record every meeting, video and voice, to actually train your VA. So like, let's just say the VA doesn't work out. You just made a mistake. We all make mistakes as entrepreneurs. You can now have all those recordings and you're like, here's a Dropbox file. Have fun. Done. So we use Zoom. Okay, let's keep moving. So one of the books I said was Virtual Freedom. One of the other things I want to point out while I'm actually passing this slide right here The other day, it was about 2 weeks ago, and I've noticed, because I spy on her on Upwork through the screen captures, I noticed that she was actually logging out often, and she would disappear. So number one, I put in a process that every morning they need to say good morning, and they need to tell me when they're logging out. But she also revealed something interesting to me, and we're like very close, that she actually doesn't like the neighborhood she's in, but the internet is really, really slow. So I said, well, she's a single mother. She's bringing up her daughter on her own. I said, so why can't you get better internet? And she said, well, the area doesn't have internet, but also the school system here is really bad. I said, okay, so what do you need to do to get out of the school system and to have internet? She said, well, I need to move, and I've been looking into moving for a while, but I don't have the money. I don't have the security deposit. $1,400. What did I do? I paid the $1,400 security deposit for her. Done. She moved the next weekend. And now she has amazing internet, and she has a school system that she can bring her kids up, her one child up in. I think it's just very important to note that the people that you hire, especially VAs, even though they're remote, this kind of appreciation goes a really long way. I also bought her an Apple computer. But she helps me do my job better. So I think we have some time. Yes, we do. Essentialism, just quickly, it's this book all about saying no. It's one of my difficult things that I had to overcome, was saying no. How do you say no to an employee, to somebody that wants your time, or how do you just say no to things that where you want to really focus? So that book gifted me with ways that I can say no and not feel bad about saying no. One of the things that tipped off my entire journey was 4-Hour Workweek, and then Cheaper, Easier, Direct was a book I compiled about my blueprint of private labeling on Amazon. So we're going to open up to some Q&A because we still have time. One of the things I want to put out there before you start, Ray, is that I'm offering a free 15-minute consultation to 20 people that apply, that want consultation for free for 15 minutes. So the sign up is right there, skubana.com/prosper. The password is replace yourself. Feel free to email me if you would like. You may not get a response from me. And you can feel free to follow me at e-commerce renegade. So let's start with some Q&A. If anybody has questions, I'd love to take some questions.
What do you do when the VA kind of goes rogue on you or disappears after a while of training?
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. What do you do when a... Testing.
Okay. What do you do when a VA goes rogue? So I don't know the experience you've had, but A, you make sure that they're in LastPass. You revoke their access to every single thing, like immediately. 2 is you should be actually following them to see if they go rogue. Like, I'm not sure what rogue means. Does that mean that they're... I'm not sure, but we can talk more about it offline. But LastPass is a great way to actually extrapolate that and pull that access.
One more thing. All those services you show, you actually sign up to them? How do you keep rolling what the charges? How do you know when you sign up? It's like a lot.
Yeah, so he asked me about my technology stack. So going back to this, guys, if you want to talk, feel free to go outside. So the tech stack. Come on. So tech stack. So he asked about tech stack. So tech stack, how do I keep up with all my charges? I think that everyone should start looking at where are they spending their money. Like there's a lot of these like quick get-rich schemes out there where you just spend $20 a month and it's just something that you end up not using. And so every technology that I use here, which is right here, every technology we actually like curate and we go through our book, like my bookkeeper goes through and compiles all the software technologies we spend money on, and we start actually dividing our costs about what's going to actually produce the greatest ROI for our business.
Hello. We have 2 more minutes for questions. Anyone who has questions, please come
All right,
to
so we got one.
the middle of the room.
Hold on.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
Thank you for your presentation. My name is Nemo. I've recently been hired by a company to list or to optimize their Amazon products. I have no Amazon experience. I've been given about 700 SKUs that are, in every brick and mortar store in the United States. basically I'm really overwhelmed, and I mean this really sounds great. How important do you think it is for me to get into the processes, each one of these processes in Amazon, and to learn them via versus outsourcing? So I'm outsourcing a lot of stuff already.
Yep.
But where should I put most of my efforts into?
So I look at listings as a high value activity. In fact, we actually don't outsource listings. Listing creation is the first thing that people see. I think it was Tim that said that the detail page is the actual buying sphere. It's like going to the store and buying that product, right? And it's the first thing people see. So we work hard on creating optimized listings. So if for you, you have no experience doing optimizations, maybe you want to partner with a company that's doing optimizations. So one of the companies doing my optimizations is Home Revolution, right? They're doing some optimization work for me. Maybe you want to partner versus try to figure out on your own because you're really early right now. We'll talk. I think he's been having his hand up, sorry. Oh, okay.
Yep.
We can talk offline.
How can you make sure that what your VA is keeping everything confidential, let's say, and that you can trust them? And
I think you should hire well, ask a lot of questions. But like what I've noticed, that there's a motto that I like to use. It's hustle, loyalty, and respect. Those are the three things I look for, particularly when I'm hiring. Right? Are they loyal? You can really get a sense. I mean, a lot of people in the Philippines are loyal, and this employee, they need this to put food on the table. So that gives a certain level of loyalty immediately out of the gate. But also, you can have them sign an NDA.
Okay, so we're going to close up the Q&A for now. Chad's going to be around for the next little while.
I'll be here till 10 p.m.
He's here till 10 p.m. Any questions? He's more than happy to answer any questions. And that's going to close off our workshop. And big round of applause for Ed.
Ed or Chad?
And of course, Chad and Tim and Brad. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Let's go.